Good morning, everyone. I'm pretty excited this morning, ready to get this done, ready for 1 week before spring break. Is that it? Yeehaw. Well, we're going to start this meeting as we have almost all of them and introduce anybody who is new to the division and has not yet been introduced at an all-staff meeting to stand up and introduce themselves. And so what I'd like you to do is who you are and what department you work for, and then where you come from just prior to coming to that department. And so if you want to stand up right now, that'd be great. I'll come around with the microphone.
I'm Erin Layton. I am with the admissions office. I am previously West Georgia with a brief detour at West Georgia Tech.
I'm Javon Jeans. I'm with Housing Residence Life, and I just graduated from West Georgia.
Hey, Wes. Welcome, both of you. Anybody else? That was pretty quick. Okay, awesome. Great to have all of you here this morning and the two new people. Good to see you. I'm going to turn it over immediately to financial aid. And there she is, Leanne, and they're going to do a department spotlight.
Thanks. Good morning, everyone. How are you? Good morning. Just a moment. We'll walk over here and grab a clicker. Hi, my name is Leanne Hussey. I'm the Director of Financial Aid. And in a few moments, you're going to hear from Kendall McCaney. He's one of our senior financial aid advisors. So just to tell you a little bit about us, we know that we talk to you guys a lot and we email you guys a lot, but we sometimes don't get out of the third floor of Parker Hall all the time. So we just wanted you to be able to put a name with a face. So here we are. Some of our staff members here. We have 5 financial aid advisors. And then we have a plethora also of staff members that help us out and get financial aid awarded to students. And we talk with you on the phone. We present presentations across campus. All sorts of things that are happening in the financial aid office. So what do we do though? Well, we bowl sometimes. And it's a lot of fun. We're actually horrible bowlers, so you need to feel good about your bowling game. Invite us along, and we'd be happy to come bowl with you. But what we really do is we are the primary unit that assists students in getting their financial aid. And so what does that look like? We work with multiple offices across campus. Many of you are included there in order to increase opportunities for student access to higher education. Because what is one of the main barriers to accessing higher education for students? It's the cost of higher ed. And so we work really hard to help students seek out financial assistance, obtain financial assistance, and then also best utilize it, because we know that funds don't always go very far. So how do they best utilize their financial aid in order to attend school? So for 17-18, and so we use a lot of terminology in financial aid, so if we ever use anything that you don't understand, let us know. So when we use the term 17-18, we're talking about fall of 17, spring of 18, which is where we currently are, and then summer of 2018. We received 27,107 FAFSAs. So we get those FAFSAs in, and then we award students based off of that. So sometimes we have to get more information from students. You'll hear students say, oh, I have to turn in my tax return transcript to financial aid. And sometimes it is hard to get, and we understand that. But those things are required for us to get from the Department of Education. And so we're not just kind of willy-nilly out there saying, oh, that looks like fun. We think we might get that from this student. So anything that we do and ask for from a student, we're most of the time required to do so. We get 27,107 FAFSAs for 17-18 thus far. We anticipate receiving more though. We get more every day because students will use the 17-18 FAFSA for the summer of 2018. So far for 18-19, the FAFSA was available starting October 1 of 2017. And so far for 18-19, we've received 14,240 FAFSAs. So those are for students who, some of them may be enrolled here right now, some of them may be seniors in high school anticipating coming, some of them may be at another institution anticipating transferring here. So far we've received 14,240 FAFSAs. So what do we do with those FAFSAs when we receive them? For 16-17, which was the last aid year completed, we dispersed, not awarded, we dispersed $136 million in aid. And so that's a huge number for us, I think. That includes Pell Grants, that includes student loans, Hope, Zell Miller, the random scholarship that your local bank gives out, a scholarship to be a resident assistant in housing and residence life. It includes all of the financial aid that we disperse, $136 million. To break it down into some of our larger pieces, a Pell Grant, $24 million in Pell Grant, 85 in loans, 16 million in Hope, and then another million in Zell Miller. So those are some of our larger scholarships. So that's a huge amount of money that we're getting out to students in order to be able to attend here. So we do have a few new and exciting things that are happening right now. One of the things that we're most excited about, it's a platform called Campus Logic. And students really won't know that as Campus Logic, they'll know it as BandWeb. And so when they go into their BandWeb and they look to see what what type of documents they need to submit for financial aid, there's tax return transcripts that I talked about earlier, any kind of verification forms they have to fill out. In the past, what they had to do was they had to print off the form, fill it out by hand, take it to mom or dad, get mom or dad to sign it, fax it to us. I mean, who uses fax machines anymore? Some people do. We have one, still have one, so they can fax it to us, they can mail it to us, they can drop it by. But it was a lot of steps involved in what that looked like. Now, 99% of our forms can be filled out electronically. If a student has to fill out a household verification worksheet, they can fill it out online and put in an email address for mom or dad, and it gets sent to mom or dad. Mom or dad can sign it via an electronic signature. It comes back to us and uploads into our system. They can take out their smartphone or their iPad, and they can take a picture of their tax return transcripts and upload it that way. We don't even anticipate utilizing the fax machine anymore in our office. So it's really revolutionized the way that students can submit documents. And we've noticed that students are doing so in a much more timely manner. It also communicates to them via text, if they choose to be communicated with via text, if they've got documents that are missing. We can email them. So there's lots of things that this system can do that we're super excited about. Another really cool thing that's going on in financial aid right now is what we call year-round Pell Grants. If you're around in the higher education world around 2011, you remember that those existed before and they're back. I'm pretty excited about them. So if a student attends full-time in the fall and full-time in the spring and has a Pell Grant, previously they couldn't come in the summer and receive Pell Grant. There just no funds were left there. And so now, if they come in the summer and they take at least 6 hours, they're eligible for a Pell Grant. A few stipulations behind it, like it's not just like, oh, everybody gets a Pell Grant. It's you had to have been eligible to receive a Pell Grant before, income-wise. You still have to be eligible with grades, but they're out there, and so we're very excited about what that can mean for our students as they progress towards graduation. So while we're awarding aid, we also have some really neat programming out there, and Kendall's going to let us know a little bit more about that.
All right, so Leah shared a little bit about what we do and kind of how all of this comes together. I think for most of us in the financial aid office, we wake up in the morning for the purpose of providing students with access to the opportunity that higher education affords. And so that's really what we're passionate about, and that's why we do what we do day in and day out. But we don't want that to be blind access, right? We want that to be informed access. And so that is why over the last year and a half, we have really made financial literacy, financial wellness, personal finance are really big emphasis in our office. And so for us, we really break that down into 4 different categories. So first is programming, right? So we want to get this information out. We want to make sure that students understand, you know, the importance of money and finance and kind of what that looks like to manage that and to handle that effectively. This is one of the things that we are actually doing today that we're really excited about in collaboration with Career Services. And so this is, you know, so programming is a really big piece of it. Above and beyond that, we also are really focused on assessment. So we're constantly on a daily, really on a weekly and on a monthly basis. We are running reports from the Department of Education. We're pulling information out of Banner. And we're really, really focused on student outcomes. That is what drives everything that we do in this space is student outcomes. So we're constantly assessing what are our students doing. We're trying to identify trends about how they're managing their money, at least in terms of financial aid dollars and you know, repayment. All of that kind of goes into that. And then we are adjusting programming and we're adjusting communication as necessary to account for those changes that we're seeing as we're assessing those outcomes. That leads us to communication. So that's been another big emphasis for us over the last really 6 months especially. We're really excited to be rolling out a debt letter for the 18-19 award year, in which we're going to be sharing with students exactly how much money they borrowed. We're sharing with them an assumed interest rate, anticipated repayment, total interest accrued by the time they repay their loan, and even what an anticipated salary would need to be in order to afford their repayment. So we're trying to do some really innovative things in this space, and like I said, at the end of the day, it all comes back to outcomes, and that's really what drives us to be successful in this. And then the 4th thing is everything else, right? So these are pretty much visibility initiatives for us. So the social media, tabling, you know, various partnerships and collaboration. I know we worked with some of you all on these things and have partnered to connect and kind of inject some of this programming into some of the things that you all are already doing. We really appreciate how you value the stuff that we're doing and see that as important in terms of the work that you're doing with students. So that's kind of what we're doing on the financial wellness, the financial literacy front. We're really excited about that, and if that's something that you're interested in continuing to work with us on, feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to talk with you about what opportunities exist to do that. So finally, this is our contact information. This is how you can connect with us about what all of this looks like. If you have any questions, I know Leanne mentioned you know, terminology and all of this. I know you guys saw some big numbers earlier. You know, if there's any way that you see opportunities to get on board with that, I'd love to talk further about what that looks like and some things that we can do. So thank you all so much. Appreciate the opportunity.
We have a few minutes to wait for our speaker. The speaker is actually going to be on the overhead here in just a few minutes, and talking about the guide application, Emily from EAB. But I just wanted to take a few minutes to talk a little bit about Engage West survey. It is still open this week. You got an email from me, what was it, Monday? All the days are flowing together this week. But I think it was Monday, encouraging you to do the survey if you haven't done it yet. And so I just wanted to spend a few moments helping those that are new understand, and those that are continuing and have been here for a while to understand what we actually do with that survey information. So those of you that have been around for a while, you have heard the terminology rollout, right? And so at each level of our organization, we do a rollout of that information. And essentially what happens is the leader of that level, whatever that level is, gets if they have 5 or more people within the organization that are filling out the survey, they get results from all of the questions in that survey. And not only do they get results about their own organization and their own self, they get comparisons with the other organizations, other organizations, or the university here on our university campus. So there's a little bit of comparison that happens around that. And then, of course, those leaders that have gotten results over time, they get a comparison over time, or they have their results from over time. They can draw those comparisons themselves. And so that's really what the richness of the rollout is. Are we making progress on some of the items that in last year's were maybe a little lower score than what we might have wanted, or that we said specifically that we were going to work on to be able to make this a better place to work, learn, and succeed. And actually, it's really more about the engagement part. So the idea is, excuse me, obviously that more engaged employees are better for the organization, feel better about their own experience. There is less turnover, and that is playing itself out. So we just had, on Tuesday morning, we had our budget presentation to the board. And this is where all of our leadership team goes up to the board. We spend an hour talking about ourselves and really honing in on the things that the board wants us to do so that we can show them, hey, this is how we're going to spend the money that you're about to give us. And luckily, that is a good story at West Georgia, has been for a lot of years. But one of the pieces that they really caught onto was that our overall institutional retention rate of our employees actually has gone up since we started doing the Engage West survey. So our turnover has gone down from about 13% to about 8%. So you can tell that these kind of activities make a big difference, right? That many percentage points translates into time and effort and experience and money that we then have a strength in more as an institution. Now, I don't have our own divisions. I wanted to get that. After I saw that statistic, I wanted to get our division. We tend to also in our division, because we have an awful lot of entry-level employees, we tend to turn over probably a little higher than that. But still, I think our overall retention has actually gone, or our overall turnover has actually gone down in that amount of time. So that's one of the reasons and one of the ways we would use the Engage West survey. I'm looking over to see if I need to stretch or... Okay, great. The other way is obviously just our own organizational health. Today, Diverse Magazine came out, and as I've told other people, I don't know if I've told the whole division yet, I can't remember, but we have been named again as a most promising place to work in student affairs. This is for the 5th year in a row. And give yourself a round of applause for that. And so you can go to Diverse Magazine today, and you can read the criteria for that, but I'll just give you some of the main highlights of what they're looking for in the report. So, some of you know that there was one other institution that had done it 4 years in a row, and I'm here to tell you they're in the 5th year also, so we're not the singular institution. Okay, so the things they're looking for: a culture of evidence-based practice, engagement in the broader profession, commitment to inclusive excellence, organizational mindset for learning and improvement. Oh, and I think that's it. That's the 5, I think. Yeah, so they're really looking across those elements, and as you can expect, based on our values of caring, collaboration, and growth and development, and our expectation at our institution for inclusion, diversity and inclusion, and being a leader of the institution for that, we fare pretty well in this survey, and that's why I think that we've been in that list for 5 years in a row. This year there are 13 institutions. Kind of changes over time because they're methodology allows all institutions that meet a certain threshold to actually be in the list. So it started out at 30 institutions the first year, went down to 15, then was 18 and 13, so it's in those mid-teens most time. So again, certainly it's something we can be very proud of. It's certainly something our institution and our president is proud of. They put it on the update to the board, and when we talk about things that our institution has done well over time. And so you can be very proud of that. But again, the Engage West survey gives us clues to be able to then make the changes that we need to. I also want to highlight there are some people in the room that are on the Engage West survey committee. Actually, they may be leaving very shortly. Alicia and Justin, right? That's all that we have on that, right? Yeah. And so they have helped craft this year's survey. And when you took it, those of you that did take it, there have been some subtle changes and some important changes in it that have been very, very helpful. As a matter of fact, one of those is that in years past, they haven't had a not applicable listing on there. So it was a Riker scale, and there wasn't an opportunity for you not to rate something. Well, if you know anything about psychometrics, many times when there's not an opportunity not to rate something, people rate it at the middle, right? And so when they do that, when most of our scores are in the upper middle to the top, then it pulls down those scores. So I'm very interested to see how that dynamic is going to make itself available to us this year. So lesson, if you haven't taken the survey yet, you still have time. It's through next Monday at 5 o'clock. And you would have gotten, if you're eligible for the survey, you would have gotten an email. Now I noticed when I took mine this week, it was, although Judy Kunselman's name was on there, it actually came from a different email address. And it was a no reply at, where's my note on that? No reply at qemailserver.com. qemailserver.com. So search Julie Kunselman or qemailserver.com. You'll get your link to your survey. Just go in. And again, for me, it took maybe 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes at the most to be able to do it. You have a few more people to rate. I only have the president to rate. You have a few more people to rate, so it may take you a little longer. So please go do it. Thank you very much for your attention. I'm going to turn it over to JJ.
Emily, let me take 2 seconds before you get started and introduce you so that our team here knows who that we have on GoToMeeting. And we're in the process of sharing our screen. Are you okay if I do that for just a second?
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Perfect. So So on the computer, magically coming to us as a discombobulated voice, is Emily Sentz with EAB. She is our UWG EAB specialist. So she works with our division and with mostly our advising staff and SSC campus for making sure that we're delivering a good product to our students so that they can see their interface and know what's going on with their classes, alerts, advising. If I'm forgetting anything, please forgive me. But she has been with us recently on site to do an EAB guide visit. So Emily is going to be sharing with us kind of a 10-minute overview of what the guide application does for our students here at UWG, and just let you see what it looks like. So if a student says to you, I saw this on that guide app, you're not like, what is that? So if we are ready to share the screen on the big
Yep, can you all see it?
we are mashing buttons. All right, Emily, we are seeing what you see.
Oh, great. You see the slide deck?
We did for a second. We did now. All right, yes, we're good. Go ahead.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you for the introduction and good morning, everyone. I'm happy to join you this morning and give about a 10-minute overview of the guide application. Just for some background for you all, I've been working with West Georgia for a few years now. I've been working heavily with you all on the SSC campus side. So as you're using the SSC campus platform to support your students from an internal perspective, this is where the guide mobile application comes into play that's specifically catered and designed for your students. So that's what I'll be talking about today. For, again, about the next 10 minutes or so, and then I'll hand it over to the team, I believe to Dr. Norton, to share a little bit about how you all at West Georgia are taking advantage of the application. And if anybody has questions, we will have time for questions at the end, so I'll just try to walk through and give you a very high-level overview today of what the guide application does. So what is guide? Again, what we have tried to do based on a ton of research that we've done with students across all of our member institutions is here, what are the critical issues that you run through to get towards that end goal of graduation and the ultimate success? And what we've realized is that students are really inundated with information. They don't really know what critical items they need to do and when. And we've taken a lot of that feedback and done a ton of research that we have available on different webinars and on our website. We've created a mobile app to specifically help our students be successful. And so as you think about your West Georgia students, keep in mind what is information that you think would help them succeed and get to that next semester and either walk across the stage at graduation. And all of that really comes to life through this app that we call Guide. And it's really guiding the students through their journey at your institution. And there's different components of Guide. There's really a ton of information, and we're constantly enhancing the application and adding more features and functionality. But one of the most important and critical pieces of the Guide mobile application is what we call a student path. And this is where we have critical steps that you all inform so you can completely customize and create what we call the content, the steps that the students see as they go through their journey of going to an orientation or going through the onboarding process and applying for campus housing or completing the FAFSA or making sure that they are able to go to the bursar's office and remove their hold. All of those different things we are able to add into the application to help students. We've also been able to pull in their class schedule so that they can see where are their classes, what resources you all have on campus, what staff they have access to, so what professors they have, what advisors they have. And one of my favorite pieces of the app is that it actually has nudges where you can nudge students and do push notifications to make sure if you're going up against registration soon and the student hasn't registered, you can do that quick push notification to say, hey student, it's time to register. Please schedule that appointment with the advisor to do so. I will walk through a lot of these areas in greater detail, but that's just a very quick overview of what the app does. And on the left of the screen, you will see what the app looks like. You can see there's a lot of different icons, and everything is listed in chronological order of those critical items that you need to do. And the one that I'll call out here is it says collect your financial aid paperwork. You can imagine very important steps like that you may send via email that students just don't get a lot of traction. They might not respond or even read that information. This is a different method and form to get that in the hands of the students. We know they're always on their phones. And just a better way to hopefully get that in front of the student for them to take that specific required action. So going back to the path, again, those are those critical steps. And think about the onboarding process alone, not any other process, just onboarding alone. How many critical steps there are: collecting documentation, collecting paperwork, transcripts, submitting fees, submitting paperwork or medical records to your health services center. Think about all of those things that you need students to do. Putting this within the app, putting them spaced out at different times, so it's not overwhelming. You're not sending 30 things to a student all at once. You're segmenting it out in chunks, so it's bite-sized information at different times where the student can reasonably and feasibly get to all those things that you're nudging them week by week. And within that, you can provide them information, customized links to different portals on your website, different resources, different offices. I think one of the beautiful pieces about the application is you can fully customize the content specific to West Georgia, so that this really feels like a West Georgia app. Then we also have the schedule. As I mentioned, every semester we can pull in the students' coursework. We can see where that course is located, what is the room, what is the building name. And one of my favorite pieces of this schedule is that when you click on the course, you can click on the actual location, and in Google Maps, it will take you to that room. I was joking with the West Georgia leadership team. I was on site with some of you a few weeks ago, and when we were trying to find a building in the parking lot, we were joking that we should have pulled out the guide app and plugged in where we were going, because it just makes it so easy for students to navigate, especially when they first get to campus and are figuring out where to go. We also have something called the favorites, and one thing I didn't mention is that we have something called the Major Explorer. So those of you who are staff or advisors using SSC Campus today, you know when you have a student profile up, you have information available within the Major Explorer. You can see careers related to majors that you offer. You can see hiring demand, salary information, a description of those careers. And for a long time, members have been asking us, how do we get that information in the hands of students who are the ones who really want to see that? And so we do have something called a Major Explorer in the application where students can complete a few questions and answer some questions about their subjects and areas of interest, and it will show them some of their top potential major choices that they can pursue specific to West Georgia majors. And what's really nice is that students can favorite this information, and that actually feeds back into the SSC Campus application. So you will be able to see that Emily, my student, favorited advertising and elementary education as some of her favorite items, which is really helpful when you're having those conversations. And one of the other pieces was the resources. You can also favorite different resources on campus. So think about a place that would exist where students would be able to see all of your resources offered on campus. So different student life offices, career services. Think about the bursar's office. Most students don't know what that is. So being able to customize and explain, this is a place where you can go to pay a bill. Here's where it's located. These are the hours. Putting all that information at the fingertips of the student's phone has really been a huge benefit and impact for a lot of our members using the application. One of the really cool features that we have is something called a quick poll, and we recommend setting up Just a handful of quick polls across the semester. We don't want students to feel like this is a surveying tool, but we want to be very strategic and thoughtful about when we launch these types of polls, but it's a way to gather information in a very timely manner where you can really assess and follow up with students based on their unique need. And so the best example that you see here is, have you selected your major yet? Students can respond and say, yep, I'm all set here, or no, I haven't. And if they say, no, I haven't, you all can actually customize what questions you want to display in follow-up. Is it schedule an appointment with your advisor, go see someone in career services to talk about major selection, register for this course on major selection, whatever it may be, you can customize that. A very, very popular quick poll that members are running is, have you registered for classes? And students say, yep, all registered, or not yet. And then from not yet, you can say, are you transferring? Are you unsure of what classes to select? Do you need to speak with someone before registering? All of those different things you can customize. So the quick polls are really, really awesome. And it helps you get information on students that you otherwise wouldn't be able to really get quite easily. We also have the Success Network. So this shows you the students' advisors, and one awesome thing about the guide application for students in the SAC Campus platform is that we are constantly creating synergy between the platform and being able to connect them together by being able to schedule an appointment and guide that would then show up in the advisor's SSC platform, and vice versa. As advisors schedule appointments with students, they would then sync to their guide application. So appointment scheduling is a huge feature now, hopefully something you'll be able to take advantage of, and hopefully students are able to more easily schedule those appointments with you through the app. I think this is my last slide here before I hand it over to Dr. Norton, but thinking across the guide application, it's not just for first years, even though I've used onboarding as a really good example, but it's actually for all 4 years of your student population. So think about graduation. I speak with members all the time how confusing it is for students to even know that they have to apply for graduation, let alone what other critical steps they have to do, like order their cap and gown. Think about how great that would be if we put that information in the guide app so that students aren't missing those really, really critical, important items that they need to do in order to get to graduation. And here are several different recommended topics and kind of categories that we have, anything from new students coming to your campus, paying for college, getting involved in campus activities and organizations, academic success. How do we connect them to your success centers on campus and make sure that they're using tutoring or any other support services, academic coaching, for example. So that really is guide in a nutshell at a very high level, but hopefully you can see how the app is really customized and designed to support your students. And now I'll hand it over to the West Georgia team to speak a little bit about specifically what you all at West Georgia are doing with the application.
Thank you, Emily. Good morning, everybody. How are y'all doing? I'm so glad to have a chance to talk to you a little bit about the Guide app and to bring a little institutional context to where we are in putting this in place. So the meeting, what was it, February the 23rd, I think, was fantastic. There was great representation across Student Affairs and Enrollment Management. Lots of ideas flowing. So in rolling out Guide full blast, so to speak, for this coming fall semester, there has already been a more minor rollout, not across the entire student population, really focused on this past fall's orientation program. So that went well, and students were able to log on to the Guide app, download the app, log on to it, and start using it. A couple of challenges that we have around that are that it hasn't seen the kind of utilization, we haven't seen the kind of utilization rate that we'd like to have, and even examples of people deleting their apps after they're in place. So we've got to think about some things to improve that. Number one, for me, is what we're doing right now this morning, and that's teaching staff about the Guide app. so that you can promote the app to students and find ways for them to take advantage of it. Also, ramping up the content. A reason that people would delete an app is because there might not be enough targeted, appropriate content out there for them to find the value. So that's a big thing for us. One thing that we learned in the meeting is that we now have the opportunity or the ability, excuse me, locally to do our own content updates on that. I think previously it required us working through the folks at the Guide app at EAB to get those changes made, but we have the ability to do that ourselves. And in the meeting, I saw lots of great ideas coming forward, both from enrollment management areas and student affairs areas, about opportunities to deliver the right information to the right group of students at the right time, so that it would have great value for them. They'll see the purpose for that, and then be able to, again, find the value and be more likely to utilize the app fully and to benefit from it. Another little thing that sneaks in here is the fact that beyond the Guide app, the University of West Georgia is also establishing an app of its own. And so some questions came up in the meeting about how do we navigate two different apps, how does that look, how does that work? And so I've had a chance to raise that issue at the IT steering board, and Hugh Russell's been very helpful in that too. So the University of West Georgia app is going to be a more transactional application, one where students register, one where students pay fees and take care of other transactions. The Guide app is more about all of the things that we've heard this morning and delivering the content to students that they need, targeted in a timely way to help students succeed. So those are some of the key things. I mentioned just introducing you all to the app this morning for those that aren't already familiar with it. But looking at some other steps forward are coming up with a very good process. Like I said, ideas came forward about how we might use it, how we might promote specific information to the right students at the right time. But we have to have a good local process for doing that. So that's one thing we're doing right now, is to think about exactly when you have an idea, who are you going to contact about that? How is that going to be developed, vetted, and then placed on the app? Other things to think about are promoting the app through your offices, through your daily interactions with students. With your familiarity, you can encourage them to be using the app. So those are some of the key points. Promoting through the offices. I think also we could have a campaign across campus beyond just simply talk word of mouth, but promote it otherwise on campus as well. So I think that provides some kind of key institutional context where we are with it. We're going full speed, full blast for the fall. So there's a good amount of work to be done. And we'll be getting back to you as to exactly how all that's going to roll out. Keyword today, roll out, right? So I think we're going to have some more opportunities for questions. Maybe with me, but Emily as well. So I guess I could play the Phil Donahue role. Who's old enough to remember Phil Donahue? Not everybody. Okay. Are there questions that you'd like to ask that maybe I could help with, or possibly Emily can contribute? I just know that there are a lot of great ideas that were coming forward for not just the training, not just the student success part, but also for the promotion of all the activities we have going on. Yes. One of those great ideas.
For Emily's purpose, can you repeat that question?
Yes, Emily's. The question was really one for us. We have a process for staff training here called Develop West. And the question was whether there would be training available through that facility to help staff become more familiar. And I think that's something for us to develop. I think some key things around there for the training purpose would be related to how, if you have an idea for something you want to promote through the guide app to a particular group of students at a particular time, how do you go about doing that? That's as much as anything, at least I think, just standing here thinking about it out loud, that's about training for how you go about that, and what is our process to do that.
Short answer, Jen, no. There's not a spot in Develop West. Definitely something we could consider. We don't, I don't know that our sandbox environment is live anymore. But I do want to say, if you go to westga.edu/guide, that is our microsite for the guide app. It says UWG Guide app when you get there. There's also an email address, guideme@westga.edu. So if students have questions or you have questions, be sure to forward them there. Right now, I have access to that email. So we'll be making sure that we get that to kind of a broader team in case there are questions that come out that maybe my level of expertise isn't quite up to par to be able to answer those questions.
Anything else? Yes.
How early in the process can they, how early in the process can the students access the application? So I work in the admissions office, so does the student need to be enrolled before this app becomes useful to them, or can it work for prospective students who need to know what steps they need to take to get an admissions decision?
We are rolling it out at orientation, Sean.
At orientation.
Yeah, we are rolling out guide at orientation, so each new cohort that comes in, thanks Steph, appreciate you for letting us follow that on. Yeah. So any of our prospective students or students that aren't fully admitted would not be in guide because we need their 917 and their login information in order for them to get into the app. They have to be part of our Active Directory.
Okay.
Great question. Others? Did I see him?
Yes.
Back? Yes. All right.
Good morning. I hadn't been planning on being this far in front of the room, but so my question is there going to be sort of oversight, or dare I say censorship, over what can be distributed via the app? I'll use email as an example. I have students who will tell me, I don't check my email, even though email is the official means of communication for the university, but the bombardment of information that comes through, things like fee payment deadline, are also me competing for space with, there's a volleyball game tonight, we have, rush going on, we have, flu season coming out. So is there going to be any type of limitation on how much information can be shared?
Another great question. One key thing about the guide app is that everybody's guide app doesn't look exactly the same as everybody else's. And the reason for that is the content is pushed out in a targeted way. So everybody doesn't see every push or every announcement or get information about every single thing. So it's quite targeted. So that will, in effect, do some of that limitation. But I think there's another piece to this when people put forward ideas for promoting any variety of things that are going on campus, whether they're activities or we need to notify a group of people that it's time to apply for financial aid, whatever it might be. I think there does need to be some amount of vetting to make sure that we're not conflicting, for example, with other messages that are trying to say the same thing, so that we're basically all on the same page as we promote information to our students. So I'm not thinking of it in terms of censorship necessarily, or trying to block anybody's ability to communicate, but I think we do need to make sure we're appropriate, not duplicative, and sending a bunch of messages that say the same thing. So I think we do need to have some level of vetting for content that goes out on Guide. And the other?
Download is not mandatory. We do not say you must download this application or else. So students will have the opportunity, and we will be encouraging them and hoping that they find value, like Dr. Norton was mentioning, and that they utilize the app, but we are not using this as something that becomes punitive if they do not download the application. Because theoretically, we are sending out the information to them in a variety of ways. This is just our one more attempt to meet the student where they are.
Others? Questions, concerns, thoughts? Not seeing any more hands. Okay, well, thank you so much. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Emily. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you all. Thanks for letting me join. And in follow-up, I will share a really great document we created to help you all gather content, since your brains are probably running now with several ideas, so we want to make it easy for you to capture what that content will be. So I'll follow up with the guide leadership team and share that with them, and they can then share that with you all so that we can start to gather your input and your ideas for making the app more robust for your students. So thank you again, Ken.
Thank you, Emily.
Okay, just one more thing before we get out of here. Many of you know, and many of you participated in the NASPA program review for our whole division, Student Affairs Enrollment Management. That happened in October, November timeframe. Many of you then participated in the survey, which is called Practices, and that's an acronym, and I can't tell you what all those 9 things mean, but I should be able to sometime. But that has come back to us now in draft form as a report. Dr. Whitaker and I sat at the NASPA conference this past week with the 2 consultants that came in and the NASPA staff member that came and did the interviews, and had a really great meeting about finalizing that report. We're hoping to finalize it by the end of March, and then we'll be sharing that with you. Now, why is that important? Number one, it was important to do the review because although we all think great things about ourselves and our functional areas in our division, this is an external review of that is based on very sound practice, very sound theoretical understanding in our field, and very sound organizational and structural management. And so we had a good opportunity to kind of gauge ourselves against other divisions of student affairs and enrollment management in all of those practices areas. The other thing was that it was not about our functional areas. So if you think about the way that we get assessed over time, just individually we get assessed, and NASPA has some things called, they worked with ACPA and put together competencies, so professional competencies. That's kind of an individual way to do this. At our functional level, there are the CAS standards that we look at and we can use internally to determine how we match up against best practices and good professional practices. But at the division level, there really wasn't ever something at a division level. So where are you as a division? So we went through that process. And we will have that report available at the end of the month. Looks really good. There are some things, obviously, that they came out. I think there were, 16 recommendations or something like that across all the dynamics, which really will help guide us as we begin the process of updating our strategic plan, our strategic enrollment plan, all of the things that kind of drive us forward and help us understand where we are in our path and our vision towards succeeding at the level that we want to. So just want to let you know that that's going on. Dr. Whitaker, did you want to add anything to that?
No, you got it. I wanted to say I was present. It was a very good conversation. You know, one thing, and I'll sit down, but the one thing about Dr. LIngrell that he doesn't do as much that I would say, we sat in that meeting and they talked a great bit about what we do best, what's working, and what we're improving, along with being continually recognized as one of the most promising places to work in student affairs. When we get these reports back and we enter into a conversation, it's really amazing to hear the feedback that we really are doing a lot of things well. And I think that's a compliment to you. And I want to say that Dr. LIngrell was very humble, but I want to speak up for him in that way. So thanks for all that you do.
Well, thank you. Yeah, thanks. you know, what happens many times as you get into an institution, you stay here for a while, you kind of lose the vision as to what others are doing and how they're doing it, and you make assumptions that they're doing that those other places are doing things so well, that the grass is always greener. And I saw something on Facebook last night that was, I'm going to paraphrase because I'm not going to be able to say it effectively, but essentially, if you think the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence, maybe you should keep watering your side of the fence, right? The grass that you're standing on, and keep watering it. And I think within our structure, within our values in our division, we have the ability and the resources to water our side. And I think that that's one of the ways that we're doing this. And I think, again, doing it well. Humbly, I think we're doing it very well. So as you get out and talk to other people, you know, test that for yourself and find out if that's really where. Do we have things that we can be better at? Absolutely. You know, we always are continually improving. So thank you very much. That's it for today. If you, as you go back into your work, think, okay, spring break isn't a break for me, but it is maybe a break from some students for a little while. That's a good thing. And enjoy the rest of your week.